Yeah, I'll react to that, sure. All right. I need a freaking haircut. I know. Even seen when you say that in the comments. It'll happen soon. Let's go. Doesn't matter. Subscribe, TikTok reacts, preemptive like. First time you realized America really messed you up, part 3. Well, I haven't seen part 1 or 2. Maybe I should start with that one.
American currently living abroad, what is one time, if you're an American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
Ooh, let me give a guess. I got nothing.
So I'm an American and I live in Norway right now. And one time I was going to help my friend with this project that she had, and this girl was still in high school. And so she was like, yeah, just come to my high school. You can help me out, yada, yada, yada. I was like, great. Where do I have to sign in when I get there? Do I need to wear a visitor's badge? Who do I talk to? What should I tell the front desk lady? She was like, what are you talking about? Just walk in and I'll meet you at my classroom. And my mind was blown. I was like, I can just walk into your school? Like, no, aren't they gonna call the police? Aren't they gonna send out an intruder alert? Like, I can't just walk into your high school and just walk straight to your classroom.
Some high schools in the USA have metal detectors. Think about that.
No. Then I realized just how messed up it is that American high schoolers are like security prisons.
This is just from studying abroad in the UK. We were at a public train station and you had to pay to use the bathroom, and I had never seen that before. And it was like, oh my God, that's like messed up, right?
What if I gotta go? Okay? Like, what if I gotta go? Like, I sometimes I get random stomach aches where it's like, I am going. I need a toilet. What do I do if I don't have change on me? Like, what do I do?
They were like,
that's been answered a bunch of times, but I'm repeating.
yeah, but we don't pay for healthcare or college. Stop yelling.
So Americans not complaining about tens of thousands of dollars and then coming there and complaining about 50 cents to use a bathroom does seem a little crazy. It's just with the bathroom, it's like, what do I do?
So when I was a teenager, I went out of the country one time to go on vacation to the Bahamas, and we were staying at this resort, and shit happened. I caught a virus that was going around the resort, and then I had an allergic reaction to the virus, and I couldn't really breathe, but the on-site paramedic had already left for the day, so the hotel concierge took us to the hospital in his van, and just told us to call when we were ready to head back. So we go to the hospital, I get treated, and as we're leaving, my mom tries to give them her insurance card, and she's telling them, like, I'm so sorry, we've never been out of the country before, I don't know how to do this. They told her, like, oh no, you just keep that, we don't take insurance here. And the look on my mom's face was terrified, like, oh my God, we're gonna have to sell our house, terrified. This was when they realized we were Americans, and they were like, oh no, don't panic, you must be American, we have universal health care here, you just need to pick up your medicine in the lobby, you're fine.
Even for out-of-country tourists? And I wonder if she went to Atlantis, the not the mythical place, the resort in the Bahamas. Coolest resort I've ever been to.
The medicine was $8, and they gave me a note to give to the airline to get back into my own country.
Okay, I love this question. I actually don't live abroad right now, but I spent basically most of my 20s living abroad, and for 6 of those years I was living in the UK, and in my first like professional job, you could say there, this one time I got really sick and I was feeling really unwell, and I was like, I had 5 weeks of leave, and I really had assumed that must have been like my sick and my vacation time like in one, because 5 weeks is like so much time relative to American standards.
I know where she's going here. I've heard that. Well, I'll let her continue.
And I was really sick, and I was like, and then I was like, but honestly, I don't want to use up my sick time. And my boss was like, what are you talking about? Like, if you're sick, like, you're just sick. And I was like, but I only have, like, I don't want to use my time. And she was like, no, like, you're just sick. And I was like, wait, holy shit, really?
I've heard that I've heard that before, and I've heard that you can act. This is mind blowing for Americans, is that if during your vacation days you get sick, you can deduct those days from your vacation days for future vacation days.
I went to uni in the UK. I still live there, so I've got a ton of these. Probably the first that comes to mind is when first year I realized I was picking my seats in lectures about where I could be protecting in case someone came in and started shooting. And I brought it up with my group of friends, which had Americans, non-Americans, and all my American friends were like, oh yeah, I'm also terrified of someone coming in and taking us out in a mass shooting. And of course, none of all of the non-Americans were like, what the like, never been worried about that. And yeah, they shouldn't be.
I'm old enough. I was born in 1993. All right, I'm 31 years old, so I finished high school and college, definitely finished high school before the big mass shootings started, right? There was Columbine in like 97, but I went to high school, thankfully, before the big mass shooting trend, which is insane, calling it a trend, but it is, started. And so I'm too old to really empathize to have that mindset of an American in school, you know, that younger Americans definitely have.
Did y'all know that in other countries they can go to the pharmacy and actually get what they need? I live in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia right now, and I went to the pharmacist and I was like, hi, I think I kind of have like a UTI. Like, do you have any pain medicine, any cranberry? And she's like, why don't I just give you antibiotic? And I was like, then I go back and I'm like, hi, I'm going to South Africa next week, like on safari, like any good, mosquito repellent? And she's like, girl, you want anti-malarials? And then I get bold with it, right? I go in there, on another occasion and I'm like, I'm back, I'm waiting for my birth control, like, to come from the US. Like, it's taken a while, prescriptions and doctors and all that. And she literally threw the birth control at me. Amazing.
So I have a really embarrassing.
By the way, Addis Ababa is like one of my favorite capital names, along with Mogadishu, Bratislava, Ulaanbaatar, Sri Jayawardenepura Port-a-Cotta. There's some awesome country capital names. All I can say is that it's the business culture, private industry business culture that runs the USA's companies, including healthcare, that if you're super rich, if you're filthy rich, I'm sure there are few better places to get healthcare than the USA, right? We have very great doctors, right? Surgeons. But if you can pay for hundreds of thousands of dollars for a treatment, you'll probably get like some of the best treatment in the world. It's that if you can't afford that, you're screwed. And the fact that other countries that have way less money, like Ethiopia, are just like, take this. I think it's a cultural issue with America, that a unity issue with America, that even the most basic little healthcare procedures and vitamin prescriptions are so much more free that it's extremely embarrassing and infuriating.
It was my first time getting pulled over by a German police officer. When the cop walked to my vehicle, I was like, why'd you pull me over? Geez, I can't get a break anywhere I go. Is it because I'm black? Then the police officer looked at me very calmly and was like, bro, in Germany, we do random traffic stops. Not only that, he also educated me on everything you need in the vehicle for a random traffic stop. After that, he didn't even do the random traffic stop. He just walked away and said, have a nice day. So Is it because I'm black? Then the police officer looked at me very calmly and was like, bro, in Germany, we do random traffic stops. Not only that, he also educated me on everything you need in the vehicle.
At first, I was going to kind of be like, well, it was a random traffic stop. And so I don't blame him for kind of thinking that. But a lot of the times I think that might be overused.
Bro, in Germany, we do random traffic stops. Not only that, he also educated me on everything you need in the vehicle for a random traffic stop. After that, he didn't even do the random traffic stop. He just walked away and said, have a nice day. Very respectful. After he left, I just sat there dumbfounded and I was like, wow, in America, I'm so used to getting pulled over for being black for no reason. And it really changed my whole attitude towards police officers out here in Germany. Yeah, so super ignorant moment for me that I definitely learned from.
That was nice.
Right then, that's your repeat medication all sorted. Oh, great. Now you're nearly 25, so you should probably come back in soon to get a cervical screening test.
Can't afford that.
Sure. And here's some info about IUDs since you were asking about those. Okay, and what's like a ballpark for how much all of this costs? Like 500, £1,000. It's free. Oh.
Well, besides wanting to get under a desk every time I hear like a bang noise, I had no idea what that was.
Electric kettle?
Before I moved to Australia.
Oh, yeah. I'm an American living in Canada here since 2007. When I went to school, my schools had security guards. They don't have that in my son's school.
She does look younger than me. So I'm assuming she's a few years younger and probably went to school a few years later, again, where the school shooting issue really started.
My son had security guards.
But definitely the more kind of inner city schools, there are a lot with security guards, metal detectors. Not a great sign of American fairness towards its public schooling.
They don't have that in my son's school.
I don't mean that like it's not needed if a lot of people are bringing in weapons, but I'm saying the fact that that's an issue is an issue in itself.
My son does not have a security guard. They used to break up fights. We used to have police called, and I mean, God, they don't have that here, and it's very reassuring that the difference of violence in schools here is uncomparable to.
Why is this, guys? I want to know your opinions from Europeans, from any Americans. Only like 4% of my audience is usually Americans that watch me, so mostly Europeans are like 90%. What was I gonna ask?
Schools here is uncomparable to the United States, and I wish it was better. I wish it was different for everyone back home. And here, difference of violence here, and it's police called, and I mean, that the difference of violence in schools here is uncomparable.
Oh yeah, I just wonder any opinions on why that is. Is it because you think guns are too available in the USA? Is it because you think Americans are just more violent or something? I'd be curious your opinions.
To the United States, and I wish it was better. I wish it was different for everyone back home.
So I spent about 4 years in Berlin, Germany, working in advertising, and coming from New York, where my first 8 years in the industry, I just, you don't take vacation. You just don't really do that. Well, I had to have a sit down with the CEO of my company and the head of HR, where they took my laptop and took my work phone and told me I could not come back to the office for 3 weeks because I had to use my vacation time. They were afraid that I was going to sue the company for not being allowed to take my vacation time. So where they have a in the industry, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. So I spent about 4 years in Berlin, Germany, working in advertising, and coming from New York, where my first 8 years in the industry, I just, you don't take vacation. You just don't really do that. Well, I had to have a sit down with the CEO of my company and the head of HR, where they took my laptop and took my work phone and told me I could not come back to the office for 3 weeks because I had to use my vacation time. They were afraid that I was going to sue the company for not being allowed to take my vacation time.
That is the polar opposite. Yes, imagine an American company being like, hey, you cannot do more work for me in your vacation time. Nope, I'm not even going to allow you to do it. This is for your own rightfully earned, peaceful vacation, and you will not be doing work. Forget it. It's so crazy.
So they made sure that I literally could not work. Imagine that happening in the US. Someone literally taking your computer and your work phone away and say, go, come back in 3 weeks, enjoy your vacation.
That for an American, that'd be like, no, take it. That's work for us with less pay. Yes.
Honestly, Europe has a lot going for it that I wish Americans would understand.
No, they don't have guns. They don't have a ton of guns. That's their drawback.
So I've been living in Italy for about 11 years now, 12 years. And I moved here to be with my husband. And in the U.S., I got my tubes tied after my third child and decided I didn't want any more, but he didn't have any, so we decided to do IVF, and I got pregnant with twins. At 13 weeks, I lost one. And once I lost that child, they considered me a high-risk pregnancy and took me off work from that moment on until 3 months after she was born, and I was paid 100% of my check. 100% of my check.
Guys, I'm gonna look stupid, but in vitro fertilization, is that just artificial insemination? An assisted reproductive technology where eggs are retrieved from a woman's ovaries and fertilized. Okay. All right. Sorry, where was I?
And then until she was 1, I got to come home 2 hours a day to breastfeed her. 100% paid.
Oh my god.
Nope, that's stealing company time. Fireable offense. Fire her. Fire her now.
Oh my god, okay kids, this one's for me, this one is for me. I'm literally about to go to sleep right now, but I saw this and I have to respond right now, so much so that this might become a series. So, part 1. I lived in Galway, Ireland for a year, all of 2020, yes, all of 2020. I come from the backwoods of Wisconsin, where shooting squirrels off of your trees is a fun afternoon activity. Fireworks rarely happen in Ireland. It was Halloween night. I heard pops in the sky. My first reaction was, who's shooting? Obviously, no one was shooting a gun. My neighbors were celebrating Samhain, the Irish tradition of Halloween. Come back for part 2. I have so much more to tell you. Bye.
It does depend on where you are in the USA. I think a lot of people from outside the USA assume everywhere you go in the USA, you're at risk of being shot. Probably more so, yes, compared to where you live. But it does kind of depend on where you live, you know. That sounded like an excuse to her point. I didn't mean to do
For
that.
part 2, I have so much more to tell you. Bye.
So I started my new job in the Netherlands. This was 3 years ago, and I was going through the company policy the first week. And I got to the section about leave, and they have a holiday leave, like PTO, and then they had sick leave in 2 different areas. And I was reading about sick leave, and I turned to my coworker, and I was like, I don't understand. Like, it talks about like the requirements for sick leave and like doctor notes, like after 3 days, but how many sick days do we get a year? And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, how many are there? It doesn't say. She's like, it's just if you're sick, you're out. I'm like, I don't understand.
Because America, by the way, because American companies are so anal about your free time and your vacation time, Well, that's going to force a lot of people who see it as unfair to maybe fake sick sometimes. And then employees will be skeptical of that. But it's really their fault in the first place that they have to be skeptical, because you give no people vacation time and sick days that they deserve. And so even if more people in the USA do call in sick fakely, right? Well, it's because you don't give them anything. You don't give them any free time.
She's like, it's unlimited. It's just, if you're sick, you take a sick day. She was confused. I was shocked.
In the USA, money is king. Welfare of your citizens is second.
There's more areas in America and how we deal with people being sick with work.
Cool video. I enjoyed it. Again, original link top description from TikTok Reacts. Great video. Love y'all. Hope you're all doing well. If you are not doing well, look at me. You'll be good soon. Don't worry. Emotions are fickle, my friend. I'd appreciate any comments down below, any criticisms of what I said. If you think I was wrong, call me out. I would love nothing more. Also, any answers to my questions. You guys are always awesome with that in the comments. Hopefully, I'll see you guys next video I react to. We'll keep on learning together. Bye, guys.